So let's go to our game view, and we want to begin and start building our user interface. But the first thing I want to do is, if we go to our Ready application here, let's start with we start from top to bottom. Okay, so I want to start with this exit button because we want to be able to get rid of this view, to minimize it, and then try other options to see everything is working, because right now we don't have that option. So inside our game view, again, I'm going to remove everything from my body and call a main function here, which we are going to create together on the top part here. Remember, we do at view builder because this function is going to build a view. Private func main will return some view. And here we are going to start building our main view. So this will cover like all our screen. But on the top of it, let me just duplicate this. This will be our close button view. All right. So in our main, I want to have a vstack and call our close button. Okay. So let's build our close button. As you can see, our close button is on the right edge of our screen. So what we need to do is we're going to have some kind of view here, which is a horizontal stack. And then we will use a spacer to push our button in the right corner. So we will put a spacer and then our button. So let's do it in our close button here. We're going to create the H stack. And here I'm going to put a button. Again, our button is going to have some kind of code running here and a label. Here we're not going to use the style that we have prepared for our main buttons because this is a tiny button. We don't want it to have the same visual interface as this one there. So what I'm going to do here is just put a text, which is going to be the title of our button. And let's quickly jump to our up strings and duplicate this line and call this exit. So we have access to this string that we can use. We will say up strings dot exit, and we should get this exit here in the middle because right now we are not doing anything when it comes to our vstack. As you can see, by default, vstack and hstack, they always put everything in the middle. So if you want to move anything around, you are going to use the spacers or padding to do that. So for our vstack, what I can do here is put a spacer. So our close button will be pushed all the way to the top, as you can see. And now inside our hstack, because I want to move this on the right side, what we can do is put a spacer before our button. So it will have all this area covered in the spacer and our button is moved in the corner there. And as you can see, it's touching the border. So we are going to fix that in a minute. Just to give you some visual idea how each view is working, I'm going to give a background, let's say color dot capital dot green, for example. So you can see that this is our H stack. And if I do the same to my V stack, and let's put this, I don't know, yellow, you will see that everything is actually yellow. All right, if I comment out the close button, there is nothing inside, but we don't say anything. But now our whole view is covered in our V stack, okay? And then we have this H stack, which is pushed all the way at the top. If I remove the spacer, we should see that now it's in the middle. So because nothing else is inside our V stack is not being utilized. So it's not covering the full screen. By default in SwiftUI, the views will cover the space as much as they need. Because now inside our vstack, we have only this close button, which is another H stack. It just needs this much space in order to present its content. That's why it's taking only this space. We don't say anything yellow because our H stack is covering everything on top with a green layer. But since we are using a spacer, we want to push everything down, and now our VStack has a spacer inside, so that's why we are getting the full screen with our background color lit up. So let's finish with our button here. So we have our text, and we're going to put some modifiers to it. First, we will make a font bigger, like title 3, not so big. Then we want to change it, the foreground and background colors. Let's actually make it a little bit semi-bold. Say font weight, foreground color is going to be red. That changes. And now we are going to give some kind of frame to our button itself. So we'll say frame. And the reason I'm not giving it to our text is that we want to make our button bigger so that it will be easier for the user to click on it. And let's have a width of 80 and height of 40. Alignment we don't really need. So we'll see our button becomes bigger, but we don't see anything around it because we don't have a background. So let's give it a background. And our background is going to be a rounded rectangle because we want to make it nice and round the rectangle there. So I will create a rounded rectangle with corner radius of 10 points. I can see it's a black button. And let's fill our rounded rectangle with white color. Now we should see a white button, which is nice, and it's still touching the right edge. So let's give some kind of padding to our edge stack. And I want to give the padding from the bottom because it's going to give some extra space when we have our rest of our view. And I'm not giving a padding on the edge because everything we are putting inside our VStack, I will give a padding to my VStack only, and that it will have nice margins on both sides. So here I will just give some bottom padding of 20 points. And then for our VStack, now we can give a padding and it can be horizontal of 16 points. And you will see that our button is being pushed, and also the edge stack that we have given a background, it's also pushed from both sides inside.